Welcome to the show. I am your host, Brian Tague, and today we are joined by a leader whose career spans Navy warships, commercial construction, and high-performance teams. Parker Amy, Superintendent at Pacific Builders. Parker spent a decade managing complex operations as surface warfare officer before ending his MBA in finance and moving into the construction world, where he now oversees multi-trade coordination, field operations, and fast-moving schedules on major interior build-outs. He brings a powerful blend of leadership, discipline, and strategic thinking, and he's passionate about supporting veterans navigating their own career transitions. Parker, it's absolutely great to have you here, so let's dive in.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. So, Parker Amy, you did 10 years in the Navy before becoming superintendent into the shipbuilding, correct?
Yes, sir. So I was a surface warfare officer. I was kind of a jack of all trades, was in the engineering room. I was in the combat systems world, and my most fun was driving ships and leading people. Did that for 10 years, and now I'm in the interior finish out niche of commercial construction. So we take office buildings that are empty or occupied, we demo them, and we build them with high quality finish outs.
So cool. So when you, as a kid, let's go back to the Navy piece. As a kid, is this something, is the military in your family? Did you grow up saying, I'm going to be a naval officer one day? Or how did you become a naval warfare officer?
Yeah, my most recent family member was during the Korean War. He passed away then, but my family is all service. So my grandfather and my uncle are all Dallas firefighters, and they worked their way up through, from the ground level to chief and a lieutenant now. My mom's a high school math teacher. My dad was very instrumental in my Boy Scouts growing up. And really, I kind of grew up in the 9/11 era of kids. And so I just, really had some great mentors growing up, and kind of the Navy just happened. It seemed like the right fit.
So schooling, let's talk about schooling. So how do you get into the Navy? Everybody gets into the Navy, all different levels, 18 years old, going to college. What is your story on how you got into the Navy for the schooling side of things?
Sure. I had a lot of camp experience where I'd go to a summer camp in high school. And my most memorable one was when I went to a naval CB camp in Port Hueneme, California. I had some mentors there that were like, hey, you need to go to the officer route. So for me, I went to high school, and then I went to the United States Merchant Marine Academy, where I graduated at 22 years of age, and I earned my ensign commission into the United States Navy. From there, quickly moved to San Diego in 5 days and walked onto my first ship.
Outstanding. And then 10 years later, you check out, honorably discharged, and then you go and you're living in Dallas, transitioning into construction.
Correct. Yeah, it's a recent transition. I think it's let's do some quick math. 9 months old now. I'm figuring out all the issues with civilian healthcare, civilian being a civilian dad to my two kids. It's been fun. It's not been easy, but it's been fun.
Awesome. I love it. So why now? So being on ships for 10 years and with the Navy for 10 years, first off, what brought you to Dallas? And then secondly, why construction? Why build outs? What do you think the draw is there?
So I'm from Dallas. I'm a Dallas native. And coming back to my family, they have a bunch of young cousins. So they're going to be great for my kids to grow up with. So that was the huge draw. Why construction? When I was transitioning, I was doing a lot of conversations with mentors and just friends of trying to figure out what's out there. And construction just kind of fell in. And kind of what I'm learning now is that it kind of it's a parallel path for the military, the camaraderie you get with your team as you're getting to your end milestone, the people from all diverse walks of life. Just the day-to-day aspect is what I'm kind of enjoying so far.
I love that. And that's what it's about, is because you go back from, high school then to college, which Merchant Marine Academy, which is super prestigious, very hard to get into, but you build that culture and your camaraderie there at Kings Point there for college, and you get all the training and the contingencies. Then you go into shipboard life, which has the same mindset, right? And then you can just transition and roll that right into your team and construction, whether it's, the minimum wage workers to the high end designers and architects. You get to run this team just like whether it was at a ship or in school, or on a ship. You just get to run the team. So what is the difference between, and the terms and titles are important, but they're also just terms and titles. So like, what's the difference between a superintendent on what you do and a project manager, for example, in just layman's terms?
So the way that Pacific Builders sets it up is that a superintendent is the day-to-day of the job site manager. And so we primarily focus 2 to 3 weeks out in the schedule. So coordinating trades, coming and going to the job site, getting work done, and making sure that the next 2 to 3 weeks are scheduled is what the superintendent does. And then the project manager focuses 3 to 6 weeks down the line, making sure that any material we need is on order, and coordinates a little bit more in depth with the client, and also just keeps our suppliers holding their schedule. And the superintendent, PM, we're all equal on the same team. We just manage different legs of the problem.
Different timelines into the production side. So you guys got to be tight and working together, because the last thing you want to do is show up one day, everybody's sitting around looking at each other because you're missing something or somebody dropped the ball as well. So you've got a lot on your shoulders. And
absolutely, we probably connect 2 to 3 times a week, hour long. They come to the job site. We try to interact as much as we can, build rapport.
That's so cool. And I mean, it's just rewarding. You're continuing to see things grow out from this shell or this design phase into this end. And you're primarily in commercial then, right? On the commercial side?
Correct. Trying to branch into industrial, but primarily commercial now. They have a really large book of business, and it's just, some of the clients that I hear about, I'm like, oh, wow, we built that. And then you get to drive around Dallas and you're like, kind of take some pride, coming from this company.
Good roots there for sure. And you're just going to get that experience, I think, and it's just a new similar. I mean, you have the leadership experience, the great training, the contingency planning, all of that stuff, which is hard to come by, but you've eat, breathed, and slept that for the last 15 years, or 10 years at least. And so now you're getting it in just a different aspect in the construction side, which hopefully, you take off and you continue on to excel within that company. But if not, it can take, your skills are just growing and you can expand that into anything and everything you want.
Yeah. One thing with leadership is that it's pretty much consistent, set of skills, and then just the environment changes. So that's kind of been one leg to stand on for me is that I don't know anything, or I didn't know anything about construction. And then I was able to just rely on, it was like, okay, they didn't hire me for my construction acumen. They hired me because I had experience and I had, systems in place that I can succeed.
And that's exactly my point, is you're utilizing what your strengths are, which they saw in you, and you're just getting a different flavor of skill set within the technical side, which can be applied to a lot of things in life,
Absolutely.
and just the connections you make and yeah, it's so cool. Life, I just find that just fascinating on how life progresses and people just go and, you look back and you're like, wow, did I ever think I would be here today? But then you really have the question is like, crap, where am I going to be in another 10 years? What am I going to be doing? And, who knows what life brings? And that's the beauty of that. So, your connection there. So at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, do you look back at that as a pivotal role into who you are today? Or, because you went the active duty route, so there's a lot of ring knockers and they keep in touch and they help each other out. And you went into the cattle corral where, the Navy's owning your life for 10 years. Do you look back at that as a pivotal role on in life, or what are the pros and cons you got out of that, and would you do it again?
I 100% do it again. I met my wife via going active duty. I met my wife in the merchant mariner sense, where you go to a random port and then you go out in town and you have and you party or get the good food. Well, I met my wife at one of those places, and we have two beautiful kids. So yes, I'd 100% do it again. The Merchant Marine Academy was a great stepping stone for a lot of different avenues. I still have my commercial license in continuity, so if I ever needed to fall back on that, I could. But I also, I mean, from being yelled at and trained from 18 and into very numerous stressful situations, and just able to handle adversity. And yeah, it's been a great change. I'd say that it challenged me early on. I wasn't necessarily a problem kid growing up, but it definitely kind of molded me into what I would like to consider a good individual.
Do you keep in touch with, did you have a core group there at school that you still keep in touch with, or you guys all went on and did your own thing?
I have a set of probably 5 to 10 people that I reach out to maybe once a month, and we'll chit chat. Uh, Primarily, mainly the active duty side, because we kind of not many people who went active duty are out of the Navy at this point.
Okay.
And then my reserve and civilian engineer and civilian mariner friends, I'll play video games with them once every 2 weeks. That's kind of how it's been working for us. But yeah, we all kind of have our mixed flavors of professions right now, and just kind of having a good time.
It's life, and just keep those bonds strong. And I imagine there's not too many alumni in Dallas area there, just because it's landlocked. Is that a fair statement? Or
I have probably not been the best alumni. I have not gotten involved in the alumni foundation in this area yet. I know there's a couple just from being my friends, but yeah, no, it's minimal.
okay. Right. Well, there's time to rekindle all those relationships too, because, well, as you know, it's a powerful network of
Mhm.
just connections within the group too. So, so what's next for you? You're 9 months into this gig. Is this a forever job? Is there something you're trying to get, or are there aspirations on growth? Like,
Sure.
where do you plan on taking this?
So I was given the trust to manage my own project with this company. I started back in June, and we're hoping to turn over the keys within the next week to the client. It's been a great learning experience, and I'm kind of at that natural inflection point within the company that they've told me that I would move from superintendent role to the project manager role. Am I loving this work? Absolutely. It's I enjoy going to work almost like I did going to the ship every day. I just enjoy it. The people are great. It's a good company culture. A lot of young individuals, so probably 28 to 35 are in the project management sphere at this company. And we have older individuals, and I'm just really trying to take as much as I can from them to maximize my growth in the future.
It's awesome.
Honestly, my father-in-law owns his own, home building company. I don't necessarily want to go residential, but commercial is definitely, just kind of seeing the problem sets that they work with. Definitely, it's very intriguing.
No, that's amazing, and I love that. And it sounds like you hit the ground running, and you're being very successful at it. But from a personal level, for your family as well, now between your father in the residential side, these connections you're making in the commercial side, I don't know. I'm an outsider looking in, but you sounds like you're teed up to be the next investor as well. Like, why not pick up a property or a duplex or an apartment or a commercial building of some sort and get into that? Because life is connections. Life is who you know. Life is giving back and helping each other and having your ecosystem there. And it sounds like you have the hard part identified. You have all those connections and propel you and your family towards legacy growth and legacy money to be able to live on. You've got the perfect storm brewing, whether you know it or not. Again, I'm just a third party looking in, but that's not a bad position for you to be in, especially in an extremely fast growing real estate market. I imagine both commercial and residential there in Dallas. Have you thought about getting into that aspect of it?
The transition out of the military kind of happened quickly. I had some medical things happen. And so my transition was not necessarily planned. So right now I'm kind of establishing my groundwork. Um, I think after this Christmas, we would say that our house and my kids are all set up to where, yes, kind of looking down the line of taking advantage of all avenues that I might have. I have not thought of going down the investment route, like you mentioned, but it's definitely not off the table.
Because I don't want to get deep and I don't want to lecture you or anybody listening, but there are so many people in life, 90% of people ish, that work for a paycheck to live off of. Or you can work for a paycheck to invest and then live off of your investments, right? At some point, some people just work, live, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can work, invest with a little bit of living in there as well, at some point your script will flip and now you'll be able to live off of your investments, and then you can just work for fun or work for that additional gravy as well, or have those investments as legacy investments for your children to live off of and have that equity built up as you build your net worth. And the hardest part about investors is, number one, knowing how to do it. But number two, it's the connections. And that was kind of what I was highlighting as I see you as what I refer to as the perfect storm. Is it's hard. Like, some people have money, but they have no idea where to start, and they don't know who to call to get something fixed or to do a remodel. Other people, well, you have that, like that, you have the hard part already identified with your dad, and now it's just training your brain and your mindset. So as you have transitioned quickly, as you mentioned, that doesn't mean that you can't still learn the easy part, because you've got the hard part figured out, in my opinion. Just for all that it's worth. And again, I don't want to turn that into a lecture, but there's so much legacy money in the real estate, especially if you know how to manage it, handle it, improve it, fix it, not over improve it, and have those connections, or do it yourself, save a lot of money that way too. So anyways, off of that tangent, but yeah, no, you're in a great spot for that type of stuff for sure. And I'm always looking towards, the future and the kids, and where you and I come from, we've got to work hard for every dollar, and that nothing was handed to us. And I want my kids, and I imagine you want your kids to work hard for what's presented to them. But man, with these last 5 years of what's happened in our economy and real estate, it's hard. We're at a very big divide. So if there is some sort of legacy generational wealth, now's the time for you to make that stamp on your family too, which I think is awesome. And for anybody listening, right? It's an awesome time to be young, and you're young and you got young kids. So and you've got the connection. So anyways, that's exciting there. What is some inspirational things that I think, let's talk about the Navy aspect. So you did 10 years in the Navy. What's some inspirational? Is it for everybody? What is the good, bad, and the ugly? Like, what are some takeaways that you can highlight for somebody listening? It's like, yeah, I was thinking about it, joining the military. What's something you want to share from your military experience?
Every day was different. Every person I interacted with was different, but they were all motivated for really darn close to the same cause. They all, wanted to be just a little bit better. So we're all working towards the same cause. It was just a lot of fun. I got to hang with like-minded individuals every day and get paid to do it. My wife, every time that I try to say that I was going through a hard time, she'd be like, "You're hanging out with, all your friends every day," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. It's not that bad." Um, if doing a career military is not for everyone, doing the 4-year contract is not for everyone. You can find your flavor. Just, what do you want to get out of it? You want to provide for the country. You want to set yourself up for future growth. You could be a career military person and have great benefits. You could do your initial contract, have great benefits. Um, yeah, it's just been great for me.
So, do you think there's an advantage to being in the military there to have, I don't know if the right word is a pre-made family, but do you think the bonds grow deeper there in the military because you guys you're on a ship together, you're deployed together, you're in training together, blood, sweat, tears together, compared to just a normal regular job? Do you think there's some value to getting tight connections and tight roots with people?
I mean, I think there's a great value to have with just the tighter commitment that you make to people, because you have to rely on them when push comes to shove. Whereas if you're in the civilian world, I don't know if you're going to necessarily get that life death bond with someone. So that's kind of hard to mirror. And I kind of look at it as take advantage of any company growth, company morale building event that I've had in the civilian life, is that I need to go and find out who these people are on a personal basis, so that I can feel like I'm in the trenches per se with them as we figure out these projects. That's kind of the easiest way to find similarities.
I love that, because and that's what I'm sure the company saw in you as well. Because just think, normal college grad or high school grad goes and gets a job, and they go and they're doing their work, and they're, sure, they're sitting side by side across from different people, or they're on the job site. But at the end of the day, most jobs, you just go home at night, you're home to your friends, you're home to your family, and you come back and work the next day. But in the military, sometimes you're there 24/7, 365 sometimes, whether you like it or not. And you have to be forced to find your people, but also take care of the people and have each other's back too, which does, I think, build that commitment and the work ethic there, because it's more than just the job. It's the livelihood and the life too. And you get to know the people. And it sounds like taking that experience and overlaying it with your current civilian job, I think, is going to just really, set you up for success as well for those connections.
Yeah, my wife has kind of really been a stickler on making sure that this does not turn into a 24/7 job. I kind of wear it on. I take everything on personally. So that's one thing I'm working on. But I think people can really tell if you're not present. And really, I'm just trying to be present as much as I can and be 100% there. And just kind of get that buy-in, make people know that I'm committed.
No, that's awesome. I love that. No, you sound like it's a great dude, and you have the right mindset, and it's just hard to find that these days. So, if there, so do you do any, so you advocate for veterans, like, do you do any sort of mentorship, training, coaching? Who are you, besides your work, who are you out there helping and inspiring?
So I've been on the receiving end of mentorship for the past year through an American Corporate Partners. They take a not military related individual high up in a S&P 500 Fortune 500 company, and they say, hey, let's take a veteran and mentor. So I've been going through about a year long of mentorship and just trying to find that value. I am looking for avenues to mentor veterans as they transition, kind of return the favor for me from all of the people that I reached out to. I think there's great success for veterans in the construction space. So I'm still trying to find my my footwork on how to help and mentor. But I've been mentoring through the Boy Scouts of America, all through Kings Point, active duty time. My mom's still active in our troop. I anytime that I can, talk to someone about the military, I'll like share my experience. So officially, unofficially, I'm still trying to figure out how to be a good mentor, but mentoring wise, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of good
now
mentorship.
It's time for you to give back. And there's great programs out there, the Rosie Network and DAV. I mean, all the different,
Absolutely.
there's so many different veteran programs out there. So again, you're in your transition. It sounded like it happened quickly. You're still getting your everything all settled, but I know that you'll find your group and your people and to be able to give back. I host another podcast called The Academy Effect for all academy graduates that have transitioned into life and entrepreneurship as well. And I co-host that with an academy guy. So I'll put you off the record. I'll put you in touch with him when we're not recording, because he does a lot of consulting and mentorship as well. And he's a good guy to know. So I'll make sure I make that connection. If people are listening to this and they're like, I like this guy, I have questions, I want to be mentored by him, is there a way that they can reach out to you or get in touch with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, first name Parker, last name Amy. More than happy to take a message and schedule a call or something. And then, I'll at least tell you my experience, and hopefully you can take something from it.
Awesome. And Parker, if there's anything I can help you with as well along the way or get you connected with the right people, I'm always here for you as a resource. Thank you for your time in the Navy. I wish you all the luck with your family there in Dallas and your new career transition. And I hope everything goes well. So let's stay in touch and see how many people we can help out and how many lives we can change.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thanks for being on the show. Have a great day.